Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your hosts Edward McQueen and April Garner.
Hey,
Good evening. Good evening.
Hey, Brother Edward, how are you?
Fine. What about you?
I'm doing well tonight. How about you?
Good. Look, I'm just waiting for this day. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. I wanna see what our product is. Okay, and what the future looks like.
Yeah, what the future looks like. You're absolutely right. We have some very special guests in the house tonight. This is our summer reading wrap up. And as you all know, at the end of our summer reading initiative, we always invite the participants of the program to come on the show to talk about what they read for the summer and their projects and what they learned, all that good stuff. And so we're just going to have a ball tonight with some extremely intelligent individuals who, believe it or not, are like between the ages of 8 and 13.
13.
They know more than most adults I know.
So we'll tell you their ages before you ask, because you were bound to ask, okay, during the broadcast. But you're gonna be impressed, and you're gonna see what it's like to invest in our future like that. Okay.
Absolutely. And this summer reading initiative, of course, was hosted by the Literacy Council and the World Community Magazine. And before we bring our special guests on, we'd like to thank a few people who actually helped to bring it all together, the coordinators and the technology folks and the mentors who are part of this program. So first and foremost, I want to thank the person who pretty much pulled the team together to make it happen this summer, Ms. Marjorie McIver, and she is watching. So of course, I know that the participants know that she's watching, and she's going to be taking notes and participating on the sideline as she normally does. But thank you, Ms. McIver, for all that you do in the community to support the youth, and for pulling together the summer reading initiative. And we want to thank Hannah McIver, who is her daughter, for coming up with this excellent curriculum and this wonderful book, Stella by Starlight by Sharon Draper.
Absolutely.
So that's the book up. I'm gonna have everybody put their book up when they come on. And it was excellent reading. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to show you all some of the culminating projects that came from this summer initiative. I want to thank Marlo Frazier for her assistance, helping the young people with the technology that they use to pull together their products and assisting them from a digital standpoint. And as you know, Marlo was also busy with the drone workshop this summer, so she had a lot going on. But nonetheless, still found the time to help. We also want to thank Sister Joella McQueen for being a mentor for this particular program. And it really did take a team of us to pull all this together. And I know I'm missing somebody. April Brown was a part of the initiative as well. And we'd like to just thank everyone who, assisted this summer to make sure that the young people had something great to read, and they're going to be engaging in some great conversation because of this very initiative. So why don't I go ahead and bring on these young people tonight, because I know that they are ready. So
our viewers just sit back and be impressed. Okay.
Yes. So want to let you.
I'm gonna say.
Exactly. So I want to let you all know. First of all, if you have any questions or comments for them, you know the deal. You can comment, and we will moderate those comments from the sideline. But also, they will answer any questions that you have for them regarding their reading. So hopefully some of you have read the book as well, and I'm sure that they can handle it. The other thing is that, whenever we bring them on, these are the students who were able to join us tonight. We actually had a much bigger group for the entire summer. We had a group of 8 to 12-year-olds and a group of 13 to 17-year-olds who participated. Well over, I think it was over 20 students or so. So, but these young people actually had the opportunity to join us tonight, and we're so happy that they're here. So I'm getting ready to bring on Skylar and Jacob Platt.
Hi.
Hi,
Yes.
Skylar. Hi, Jacob.
Here.
All right.
All right. Elia Muhammad is your last name?
Yes, ma'am. Hi.
Yes. All right. Samaya Muhammad and Miss Ava Chestnut. How are y'all doing tonight?
Good.
You guys are looking really
excited, man.
Yeah, you're looking excited, smiling. And it's interesting we have smiling faces because the summer's getting ready to begin. You guys get ready to go to school, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you ready to go back to school? Ready for in person? Are all of you doing in person this year?
I am.
You are. Okay. All right. Well, I think that first of all, I hope that you all had a great summer, and I think that you definitely had a wonderful time working on these projects. And before we actually get into the conversation about it, why don't you all tell us who you are, your school, and your age? And we'll start with the Platts. Yeah.
The Platts.
And we'll go around the clock.
All right. I'm Skylar. I go to Conway Middle, and I'm 12 years old.
I'm Jacob. I go to Conway Middle as well, and I'm 11 years old.
All right.
Elia?
My name is Eli Muhammad, and I'm going to Ten Oaks Middle, and I'm turning 11.
Awesome. Samaya?
Hi, I'm Samaya Leah Muhammad. I'm 8 years old and I'm homeschooled.
Awesome. And Ava. Yes, and Ava.
Hi, I'm Ava Chestnut. I'm 13 years old and I go to Whittemore Park Middle School.
Awesome. This is a beautiful group, isn't it, Brother Edward?
Oh, man, I'm telling you.
The future looks really bright.
I'm going to fasten my seatbelt.
Exactly. So,
This is real.
yes. So, everybody has their book, right? Hold up your books. Yes, we want to show everyone the wonderful cover of our book, Stella by Starlight. And this was written by Sharon Draper. This book is a very interesting read, and it's fascinating because it captures some moments in time that seem a little fantastic for the times, meaning you read it and you think to yourself, wow, this really happened back then. And back then was, in the 40s and the 30s, 50s. But the truth of the matter is that I'm sure all of you will agree that there are some themes in this book that actually are prevalent today. Definitely some themes that were prevalent today. And those are the things that we're going to talk about today as we introduce your projects and just have a little discussion about it. But before we get into that, I think we need to give our audience a little bit of context about why Sharon Draper, the author, chose to write this book. And it actually was based on some true accounts that she received from a family member. So I'm going to play a little video, and this will help to set the stage for everyone to understand why the book was written and what was the inspiration behind the book. And then also she may give some insight into what you all may have learned. So let's watch the clip.
When my grandmother passed away, she gave something to my father that was very, very special to her. When she was 10 years old, she was made to quit school because she was a girl and she had enough education, but she was a learner. She wanted to learn. She wanted to do more. She would go outside at night after everyone had gone to sleep, and she would write in this journal by the light of the moon, which is the only free time that she had. So when she passed away, she gave the one remaining journal to my father. He gave it to me, and he said, I want you to write my mother's story. It took me all my life for those stories to become a part of me and finally emerge so that I could retell them. If you live in a very small African American community in 1912, 1922, 1932, 1942, it was about the same. The difficulties were the same, and the community closeness was the same. So Stella's story, even though it takes place a long time ago, is still happening today. And I think from books of historical fiction, we can learn something that can help us in the present.
So as you watch that clip from the author Sharon Draper, and she talked about, you know, what the catalyst was for writing the book and what inspired her to write the book, and you think about the pages that you read and the story that was told, what is the first memory that comes to mind about Stella's story?
Immediately that she had a really hard time writing, which makes sense because the video said that she didn't get to go to school past 10.
So that particular element of the life of the family member becomes apparent through the story and the book. And you're right, you know, Stella did struggle with writing and trying to put her thoughts on paper and really just trying to figure out who she was as a person. So as you came to know more about Stella, did you find any parallels or any common ground between her story as a young person and what you all are going through today?
I think that some of the cautiousness has to be the same because they were cautious of people like the Klan, and we're just cautious of people who don't exactly like us because we're us. And that can be anybody, a woman, a man, a black woman, and any person of color.
Mm-hmm. And so as we think about that, that pretty much kind of sets the foundation for what was going on at that time in history when the book was written. The fact that they lived in a community that pretty much was a segregated community. And there were a number of themes that were prevalent throughout the book that pretty much rose to the top as you read through the story and came to know more about Stella and her friends and her family and the community, and even, you know, the relationships that existed throughout Bumblebee, North Carolina. So Elia, tell me one of the themes that stuck out for you in the book.
One of the themes definitely was inequality. She faced a lot of different people being mean to her throughout the story just because of her race, which really stood out because some of that is going on today.
Mm-hmm. And how about you, Ava? What was a theme that you remember from the book?
A theme I remember from the book was courage, because she was very like tough and strong, and she had enough courage to go stand up to talk to the KKK and everybody else and help her friend Tony.
Mm-hmm. And Samaya, can you remember a theme from the book?
Yes, I was gonna say the one when she's brave, but she already said it before I could.
It's all right. It's okay. You can say it again.
Absolutely.
You can say it again.
You can say brave as many times as you want. So, you know, as you all think about these themes and, you know, how these themes all came together to create such a, I guess, a memorable story of Stella's struggle, what do you believe is the one thing that the people in the community wanted to happen so that everyone could, I guess, kind of overcome some of the things that were challenges in the community? What was the one thing that needed to happen?
I think that the community really wanted justice and to be free and not to be looked at in different ways than all the other people.
Mm-hmm. Skylar, you're going to say something?
I think it was just basically wanting to have rights. You could see that the men were standing up for voting rights. It's just that in that story, you can see that they didn't have the basic rights that a normal person should have.
Mm-hmm. And I know that there were points in the story that, you know, made you sad, made you happy, made you feel like there were victories that were won, but also there were, major challenges that they all had to overcome. What was one point in the story that made you really happy?
When Stella finally found her purpose at the end of the story, when she was helping out her family, she was taking over some of her mom's responsibilities. That really made me happy because it felt like she found her sense of self, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Samaya? Was there a point in the story that made you really happy?
No, ma'am, not really.
You found more sadness in the story?
No.
How did you feel after you read the book?
Well, I felt like Stella was going through a lot of things in the book.
Mm-hmm. What were some of the things that she was going through?
Well, she was going through fires, and when she almost drowned in that river lake, and one of the times when the KKK man was riding by her, she was scared.
Mm-hmm. So as a young person, Stella was experiencing a lot of strife, just a lot of danger at times and uncertainty. So how do you think people during that time were able to survive? What do you think that, was the one thing that they held on to make them survive the times? Okay, Elia.
I think that they really had community and they stuck together during rough times, like during chapter 27 when the Spencer's house was on fire. They came together to help them out.
I feel like they had consciousness because they were aware that they were unliked because they were colored.
And so that's what Elia.
I felt like they had faith.
Absolutely. And these are all themes as well that are present in the book. Everything that you mentioned as far as what they were able to hold on to in order to just survive represents a theme in the book. So one of the things that you all had to do was to create a culminating project. And that means that throughout the course of this summer literacy program, the students had activities that they were required to do. They had to, read the book and answer certain questions and choose activities that would help them to create a final project. And so again, tonight, we're going to share some of those projects and let you see some of the work that was done. But I think it's really interesting, Brother Edward, when we listen to how these young people were able to comprehend a lot of the themes in the stories and to talk about, some of the, some of the present situations. One thing that struck me about the book is that, after reading it, I thought to myself, well, it's very possible that there are people who are still living this way. And there definitely are communities where, segregation, racial inequality, racism, injustices, a lot of things that we talk about in the book and we read about in the book, that it's pretty much everywhere. So do you all think that considering this book was based in a time, as the author said, the 20s, the 30s, maybe the early 40s, and now we're in 2021, why do you think that a lot of those themes that we're talking about still exist?
Because we haven't had our freedom.
And change is stunted. People don't want change. Change kind of comes in little short spurts. So when change comes, it seems like a huge milestone, but we've been working on that for years.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what about you, Jacob? Feel the same way?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you think about slavery, that was a very long time ago. We've come a far way, but the way we come is not as far as we can go.
Okay.
That's a good theme.
Yeah. Elia, what are your thoughts?
I think that change really happens, like Skylar said, short periods of time, but think about our ancestors and what they have fought for us during times during slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all feel like our ancestors went through something that you probably could never even imagine to go through something like that? Do y'all feel that same way?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, just the little bit of history that you know tells you a lot about that. I mean, it's very, but you had to be very strong to endure all of that.
I feel like they really didn't want us to go through that. So they fought as hard for their rights to get
Right.
us where they know we can handle and make a change for ourselves.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I'm glad she mentions that, because there was one, I'm gonna call it a scene. There was one scene in the book where the father and his neighbors wanted to vote in the upcoming election. You all remember that? Okay. I don't know how much you know about, the things that we talk about in today's society, but voter suppression is a very real issue in our society. And that's what was happening in this book. It was more than voter suppression. It was just an outright denial of their voting rights. So can one of you describe that scene and what happened and why that scene was, so powerful?
Yes.
Okay. Is that Ava?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked when the father went to vote and then the rest of them tagged along because they wanted to fight for so they could vote. And they went up there to make a change and get a new president. So to vote. And that was really strong of them because they knew how dangerous that was and that whites didn't want them to vote. And there's a lot of things in the books that the whites don't approve of.
Well, I think the most important part of that part of the book is when they were in there and all they wanted to do was take their test so that they could register to vote. But the man that was there, he didn't want them to. So they sat down peacefully and they sang a gospel song. And I really felt like that was so powerful because it shows what you can do when you're with people, when you have a strong sense of community, because community today is different than community was back then. Communities are way different.
So how do you think they're so different today?
Communities back then, they were more like family. Everybody kind of lived close together. Everybody felt like sisters and brothers. But now when I see a community, it feels like people who see each other every now and then. Might see them when I go here. I might see them when they go there.
And it could. Go ahead, Brother Edward.
But there's not a lot of interaction today that you think that should be, right?
Yes.
That should be. Okay. Now we'll take note of that.
I think, one thing that, lends to that part of the conversation is that, as you all said before, in those times, community was everything. And because their community was segregated, it was necessary for them to pull together to support one another. Do you all remember whenever they had the little feast at, do you remember that? Anybody want to describe that? The first feast at Stella's house? Why did they have the feast? Who was visiting?
What do you think, Samaya?
Because Spoon Man had came to town.
Exactly. And so everybody cooked and they brought food over and they had a good time. And, that was just a part of their community. And yeah, and that was just a part of it. And nowadays, you may live in a neighborhood where you don't necessarily have your family 2 doors down from you. There's a lot of diversity in neighborhoods, mixed neighborhoods and all that. And so to Skylar's point, a lot of things have changed. And I think that, that's kind of what we want in society, is for there to be a very healthy blend of people coming together so that we can understand one another and cultures and, other people's ways of life. But, they didn't always, they did not have the opportunity to do that in the times that this particular story existed. And so when you think about the school, for example, and you all are talking about how you're getting ready to go back to school and all the different schools that you go to, can somebody describe the school that Stella and her friends had to attend? Do you remember what that was like? Anybody who wants to describe it?
I will.
Okay. Well, you all can talk about it.
All
Talk
right.
about the school.
Yeah, let's get it
Talk
on.
about the school.
So they didn't have access to the tools that we have access to today because they were going to a school where they didn't get the best things that they could get. They were getting passed down stuff from the other school. So they were getting all the outdated books, the broken pencils. So they were not going to school the way that we go to school today because of their race.
Okay. What do you think about the building where they had school? Does anybody remember a description of that?
The building
It was cold.
Reading the book, you almost felt like it was cold. You could feel the chill. You really could, because you can imagine what it was like. Say that again, Ava.
It was old and it wasn't like rebuilt or anything. It was just old and it's been there.
Absolutely. So I want to go back to Spoon Man for just a second. Of course, our coordinator, Ms. Marjorie McIver, I told you she's watching. She has a question for you all. She says, who was Spoon Man and what did he represent? Who can answer that?
Spoon Man was a traveling salesman. And I think to the community, he represented other places where things might be better or they might be worse. So it kind of gave them a little bit of hope.
What you think, Elia?
I think Spoon Man gave mostly the community joy, especially the time that they were in. And as they saw the Klan come, it just gave more joy and gave them a community, a time where they can come together.
Absolutely.
Spoon Man.
Yeah, Spoon Man. Exactly. So I'm showing some of the comments that are coming in from our viewers, and we want to thank everyone so much for tuning in tonight. I'm just going to flash a few comments, and I know you guys can see the comments on the screen. But it's a fascinating story, and of course, we don't want to give the whole story away. What do we want people to do? We want them to get the book and read the book, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what we want folks to do. So
well, I'm glad we're flashing these comments, because some of the people who get on Facebook, they can't see the comments. We're finding that out. So I think it's good that we flash them at the bottom, which is good. I'm like that.
Yeah, I think the comments are coming from different sources. So if you are on Facebook, you're not going to see comments from, YouTube per se, but, as many as possible, we try to flash them on the screen. Right. So, one of the things that we're going to do tonight, we've talked a lot about some of the themes that are prevalent in the book. And now I think everybody is anxious to get to some of the projects. And so what I'm going to do is pull up some of the projects that we were able to capture from these young people. And if you're, I want you, of course, to show or to talk about the nature of your project, why you chose to do the project, and, just give us a little background about it. We have some videos, we have poetry, we have some graphic images of pictures that were actually done based upon the story. And so why don't we start with Samaya's Starlight skit. So Samaya, tell us about that. Tell us about your skit.
Well, my skit is, of course, it's an animation about when the Spencer's home got burnt down by the KKK and how everyone came to help.
All right. Does everybody remember that in the book, the scene in the book? Okay. All right. So I'm going to play the skit and then we'll talk a little bit about it when we're done. Okay. All right.
This is my Stella by Starlight presentation. Today I'm going to be reenacting chapter 26 and 27, The Fire. Oh, it's time to go into the garden and start starting chores. Someone's at the door. Hi, Carolyn. Oh, hi, Stella. What are you doing today? Oh, I was just going into the garden to start my chores. Oh, okay. Well, if we look through a few pages of this new book I got, magazine I got, then I can help you finish your chores. That's fine, as long as you help. Okay. Ooh, look at the turquoise dress. I know, when I grow up, I'm gonna have to be rich. Carolyn, we really have to go. We can look through some more pages later. Okay. I smell something burning. Let's go see. Everyone, come! The Spencer house is burning! Come! Are you guys okay? Yes, we're fine. I have to check with Mrs. Bates because she's calling the fire station now. Okay, we can wait. I have 2 things to tell you. 1, the firefighters won't come. Of course, there's no black ones, so the white ones won't come. And 2, Hazel's missing somewhere. I really have to use the bathroom. Okay, but you gotta hurry up. Hazel was telling me about a hidey hole under a tree with snakes around it. Hazel, come out, please. Why should I? There's fire burning. Because everyone's looking for you. But will the fire hurt me? No, I promise. Please just come out. Guys, I got Hazel. She was under a hole in a tree. Okay, I'll get Hazel back to her parents. This is the end of my Stella by Starlight skit. I like Stella by Starlight because all of the black people in their town are always helping them, and they're always helping their town.
Samaya, that was awesome. Very good. Now you're quite the actress because how many characters was she? There were, let's see. There was Stella. Who was with Stella? How many characters were there in that skit? You guys remember? You remember that part of the story? Who remembers when Stella was supposed to do her chores and what happened? She had a visitor. What did her mom say?
Said that if Carolyn helped her, then they could look at the magazine for a little bit.
Exactly. All right. So then, of course, there's a scene of the big fire. So what happened during the big fire? I think there was something that was very amazing about that big fire. Who all came together to help with the fire?
The whole community and
the
whole town. Even the other town. A lot of them came to help out.
Exactly. And of course, when Stella remembered where the little girl was, how did that make you feel? What did it tell you about Stella?
She was brave enough to go and look for Hazel.
Mm-hmm.
Responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a really good memory.
She had a really good memory. So Stella was a lot stronger and a lot more skillful than she thought. I think Stella lacked some confidence for a number of reasons. Who knows? But like Skylar said earlier, she was really trying to find herself and get to know herself and to figure out who she was. And that was a part of her process. So great job, Samaya. Everybody give Samaya a round of applause. Very good. That was an awesome job. All right, so now we're going to have a video, and this one is from, I think it's Elia's video. Okay.
Hi, my name is Eli, and I'm going to be reading a poem called The Sacrifice of Our Ancestors. I carry fear from the world, not knowing what it would bring, knowing the times we've been through fighting for the rights we've come to, sacrificing everything for the new generation, not wanting them to experience this kind of hatred. So now the time is here. Let us rise and have no fear, walking on the ground of our ancestors' roots, standing tall over what they've come through. The sun will set and rise again for a new generation to make a change in the world.
Elia, that was an awesome piece. Tell us what inspired you to do that piece.
Give her a clap.
Yes. Give her a round of applause. Yes. What inspired you to do that?
A lot of the themes in the poem inspired me because of the community and how Stella and her dad wanted her to fight for their community. And they didn't want anything to stop them. Like in the fire, they didn't let the fire stop them from going to vote.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Anybody else want to add to that? It was a wonderful piece. You did an excellent job. I believe that Jacob, you have a poem as well. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Tell us about your poem.
So my poem was about Stella, which was the girl who couldn't write. Because when she was in school, she did not know how to write.
You want to read your poem for us?
The girl who couldn't write. She just thought it wasn't right. She really needed to practice how to write. She didn't think she could put up that fight. She went outside to practice at night. She was practicing to learn how to write. She had her ideas, but couldn't put it on paper. She didn't feel like a creator. As soon as she picked up her pencil, she thought she didn't have the potential. She couldn't get down the fundamentals. She couldn't write, but that was all mental. That was the girl who couldn't write, but what she didn't realize is she could write.
Awesome job. Very good. Brother Edward, can you write like that, Brother Edward?
I'm not even saying. Man.
Awesome job, Jacob. I like that.
These young people are so far ahead, man.
I'm telling you. I am absolutely telling you.
I'm almost embarrassed.
They're amazing. So one of the things that you all had to do was to put together graphic organizers. Why did you have to put together the graphic organizers for the projects?
To show our thoughts and to organize them before we did our actual projects.
Was it an easy task or a hard task?
It wasn't that difficult.
It was kind of in the middle.
It was kind of easy and not really difficult because you put all together what the community and how they help each other.
So I'm going to show a little clip of not only some of the graphic organizers, but also you had the opportunity to pull together some creative projects like newspapers and pictures and things, or items or artifacts, if you want to call them that, to depict some of the things that you learned in the book, but also to just kind of put your thoughts about the book and some of the themes that were present. And so we're not, of course, tonight, as I said before, we're not able to show all of the projects, but I am going to play this reel so that you can see some of the wonderful pieces that were developed. I also have another video that I'm going to play from one of our participants who is, he's probably viewing the broadcast tonight, but wasn't able to be on the broadcast tonight, Jack O'Leary. And he has a great video about the symbolism in the book as well. So we'll go to the summer reading video so that you can see the graphic organizer and a few other creative things that these wonderful, wonderful young people came up with. And then I'm going to show Jack's video. So the town of Bumblebee, did you all see that last picture? That picture was done by Jack. And you guys remember Jack, he joined us for the summer reading program last summer. Tell us what you think about the town of Bumblebee. Does it sound like any old town in America? Any a town that you're familiar with? What was interesting about the town of Bumblebee?
I think that it's smaller than other towns.
It seemed pretty small. And who were the primary business owners in Bumblebee?
Mrs. Cooper and Mr. O'Brien.
Mm-hmm. And so everyone had to go to into the town to get all of the goods that they needed. What were some of the things that Stella used to go to town for?
She sometimes went before school to go get some candies.
And in the poem, not in the poem, but in the book, Stella went to get medicine for her brother.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that video that we showed, once again, it was, you saw some of the newspapers that were developed by the participants in the program. And Skylar, you actually developed a Bumblebee Times annual report. Tell us a little bit about the piece that you created.
So my piece was an interview of Stella because the book is a third-person story. So I thought that with this interview, we would be able to see a little bit into what Stella thought because this book was from a bird's eye view.
Mm-hmm. So, Brother Edward, we may have to post some of these projects on the website so that people can take a closer look. Yeah, take a closer look. Take a closer look at them. So I'm going to take just a little commercial break. And then when we come back, we'll see Jack's video. And then we will wrap up this conversation with our young people about Stella by Starlight. So, yeah, exactly. So everyone just.
When you're having fun, man, time
flies. It really does.
You know.
All right. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Right.
and everlasting, everlasting, and know it's on the heaven. You get the God message and the angels are listening. With the instrument.
Not now. You gotta wait till.
We do this in the street and underneath the seat. Rather talk and talk, but the youngest want to walk. They're crawling in the dark, but my voice is a torch. Drink the milk, eat the meat, falling at the take a seat. The singer take a peek, everybody take a peek. At the heart of the matter, he's the king of the kings. Married to the church, I got the Lord of the Rings. Gold streets for repenting, Father got mansions. Beauty and God's image, one in the fathom. You heard the story of Rome. Hey, so it's time to go. Hey, hey, you heard the story of Rome. Love and light, so it's time to go. Hey, you heard the story of Rome. Love and light, so it's time to go.
Go ahead, young man. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me tell you something.
Wow.
Absolutely phenomenal. Even Skylar was like, this is great. So that was done by Jack O'Leary. And one of the things that I want to point out is his use of the music in the videos. Did any of you recognize any of the music in the videos, or what type of music it was? What genre?
It was gospel music, and it was a hymn from the book.
That's right. And there were times throughout the book when, hymns were kind of infused within the story. Why do you think that's so? Why was gospel music so important, especially during those times?
They used gospel music and praying to lift their spirits up, because during times like those, when things were so scary and unsure, they needed something to lift up their spirits and make them happy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I'm going to read a little bit from Jack's piece on the video preparation for this. And basically he says that the video that he prepared for the project reflects the period of time in which the story takes place, and that many of the symbols that were shared throughout the story are brought to life in the video. The children without shoes, highlights of extreme poverty that was experienced by the characters in the story. And he even included some real footage from the 1930s. So, did his homework. Men chopping wood and women pumping water from wells reflects a period of time when African Americans were subjected to very hard labor with very little resources. A mule pulling a wagon shows us a period of time that they didn't have access to cars and modern technology. Young babies with their mothers, exemplifying the innocence that can be lost when oppressed. And so lots of symbols that are in the book. And, one thing we know about pretty much the catalyst for the story, and it's even shown on the cover of the book, is that objects like the burning cross and the music, according to Jack, signify something different from the original meaning of those things. For example, the author used music to bring more meaning to the story and makes the theme more universal than if it were, just literal. So when you all think about, some of the images in the book and how the gospel music was used throughout the book, for me, as I read the book, it really made me think about a time in life when my mother or even my grandmother probably went through some of the same things that Stella and her family went through. And of course, if you sit down long enough with your grandparents, you'll probably hear stories about some of the things that Stella and her parents
Absolutely.
and, so, awesome, absolutely awesome job. And just like Ebony Hughes says, music is a great connector, and it is, it's universal. Not only that, it conjures up feelings and thoughts in you of things that are going on or things that have happened in the past. And, it really stirs the soul. So I think that all of you did a phenomenal job with your projects and put in a lot of work. And it's obvious too that, your parents were supportive of your efforts to get the summer reading done and to make sure that all of your, activities and your projects were completed. And, when we think about that support system, what kind of support system does Stella have in terms of her parents? What was their family like? Yes, Elia.
Especially Stella's mother, she encouraged Stella to type and write about her feelings, even though Stella didn't believe in herself.
I feel
Very
like
supportive. Oops, sorry.
Supportive.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, she very supportive family. Samaya.
Their parents and their family was always helping them, and when they figure out what she's doing, like when she was sneaking to write, they knew they was gonna let her do it for a few more days to see what happened, but then they realized that something could happen, so they finally told her.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Right. So we have one more piece that we're going to show you all tonight. I think the audience is really enjoying this, and I'm going to, pop some of the comments on here from some of our viewers. And thank you all for listening and watching. Your comments are certainly motivating these young people and inspiring them to keep doing what they're doing. You're right. A lot of these projects have left us totally speechless. This is awesome. And I think Ava wants to share with us her poem, and then we will wrap up for the evening. So Ava.
Okay, so the title of my poem is Fear of Fools. Walking to school not knowing whether I'll die, heart beating through my chest, tears I will not cry. Today me and my friends just trying to find a way, knowing KKK we might not last another day. In this world we're supposed to be free, but all we see isn't what it be. Fear is our everyday emotion. If you're not white, you can't even vote. That sounds crazy, it's true and real, our lifestyle and we can't heal. Burning houses, beating blasts just gives me chills, up and down, back to back. Our routine to walk at that, we have no cars and other things like the whites, a description of what we lack. A tragedy and disbelief might not let us make it through the night. I stand in fear as he beats my peer while he's screaming. Not knowing what to do, I run, leaving him there on the ground. Scared as the rain pours on me in pain, fearful, tearful, till I finally stop. Somewhere where I see his pops. Then I stop, I'm home, sad and alone, on my own. Why? What else is there for us to lose? Fear is an option I don't want to choose.
That was awesome. Very powerful poem. Your poem pretty much summed up the entire story. It really brought it all together, and that was absolutely wonderful. So
the applause there.
Brother Edward, you and the applause. Is that what that is? I was trying to figure out what that sound was in the background.
That's what people applauding.
Okay, people applauding. I appreciate that as well. I'm sure they do. So as we wrap up this session, first of all, again, we want to thank you all for participating tonight, participating in our summer reading initiative, and we want to thank everyone who mentored and worked together to pull together the curriculum and all the projects and all of the the wonderful the wonderful activities that you all had to do. I mean, I'm trying to like talk and pull up all these great comments at the same time because I want you guys to see this. And so the last thing that I want you all to kind of impress upon everyone who's watching, can you all talk about why reading is important? Oh, when even though you're having your summer vacation and you're, just relaxing and chilling and going on vacations and doing all the, the wonderful things you want to do when you're not in school, why is it important to pick up a good book over the summer and read?
Because it builds up our vocabulary and brain muscles.
Brain muscles.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, we're going to go around to everybody. Skylar, I think you were getting ready to say something.
Reading is fundamental. Everybody read. Well, not everybody, but everybody should read. There's the news, and missing important stuff by not reading is what gets people into places that they don't want to be.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Elia?
I think reading is like a connector. You connect to the book and you feel all the good feels and bad feels, and you kind of feel the characters feeling throughout the story.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Yes. How about you, Samaya?
Well, I think you should read so you can learn more things. And I have 3 more books that I need to finish now.
What are you reading? Maybe we should write down these titles and read them with you. What are you reading?
Well, one of them is One Crazy Summer, which I already finished, so that means I have 2 books. Oh. Well, Parker Inheritance that I'm almost done. Well, not almost. I'm reading now. And another one is PSB 11. That's another book I'm reading.
PSB 11. Do you have a favorite type of book? Like some people like mysteries, and some people, like funny stories. Some people like, prolific stories, like, something like what we just read. So do you have a favorite kind of story?
Well, I like One Crazy Summer. I can tell you a little bit about it. It's like when 3 girls, sisters, their mommy, when they was really young, like 3, 4, maybe 5 and 6 maybe, and then their mommy had left them. They left them with a bottle, one of them with a bottle, one of them with a toy, and one of them with a blanket. And then a lot of years later, their daddy and grandma made them go to a trip to Oakland to get to know their even more, because she left when they was babies.
Sounds like a really good book. I've written the titles down. I'm going to have to order them, Brother Edward.
Oh, yeah.
Get up on my reading.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Does anybody else want to talk about why it's important to read over the summer?
I will. I think it's important to read because over the school year to summer, if you're doing nothing, your brain, you need to read, because if you read, then you throughout a summer from a school year, it's 2 months, I'd say. So you need to read so you can keep your brain functioning. Because if you're not doing anything, then that's not really productive. So you have to always be reading, because that's something productive. You don't have to do it all the time, but reading is productive, so you should read.
Absolutely. So, Brother Edward, I think we have had a wonderful time tonight with these young people. April Thomas, thank you so much.
So soon. What is this?
It's 8:15, Brother Edward. They have to have dinner.
Man.
They have to have dinner. Okay.
Everybody having such fun and learning at the same time.
Yes.
Showing their talents.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We're gonna have y'all back again.
Well, they're going to be back next summer. We're going to figure out what. Well, we'll leave that to Hannah, because she's doing a good job picking the books. Yes, last summer it was Ghost Boys, and this summer Stella by Starlight. So we really appreciate it. And thank you all for taking the time to be with us tonight. I really enjoyed you all and just had a wonderful time. You're so talented, and do not play that track again. It scares me every time he plays it.
Give them applause. Well, they deserve so much. I'm trying to find a good applause. You know?
Well, find a good one. So, but you all are just absolutely amazing. And like I said, the future is definitely brighter because you all are going to be a part of it. So thank you all so much for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed the comments. Were you all able to read the comments that we were pulling up on the screen?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So you did a great job. You're very welcome.
Very welcome.
Yeah, so hope you enjoy the rest of your summer. I know a lot of you get back to school next week, and we want everybody to remain safe. So make sure that you as you said before, somebody used the word cautious, just remain cautious. But we want you to have a great school year, and then we'll come back next summer with something wonderful, read by the kids and discussed by the kids. We'll understand things better from their perspective. And so, Brother Edward, I really enjoyed this tonight.
At the end, would you have an award at some point or a gift for them? I don't know what it is yet. I've had to talk with McIver about that, but you're gonna like it, okay?
Oh yeah,
all of you're gonna like it.
Hard work pays off. Just remember that hard work pays off.
That's what we're gonna show you. That hard work pays off.
Absolutely.
Okay?
So. Thank you all for joining us tonight and for encouraging these young people to continue to do what they're doing. And we really do appreciate your time and support.
All right. Thanks for our commenters. Really appreciate those comments that you're sending in. Helpful.
All right. So everyone take care. Have a good night and God bless.
See you next week.
All right.
Thank you for watching the World Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.